Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Food School Smarter, Stronger, Leaner podcast on a mission to inspire a world where food makes us better. Guys, my name is Angela Shurina. I'm a certified nutritionist, health, nutrition, weight loss coach, helping people like you to change habits to actually do things in a different way using precise science of nutrition, but put into simple daily actions to help you guys to reach your goals, to have amazing health, fitness, energy levels, and just feel, look, and do absolutely freaking amazing. So that's what I do. And if you need help with this, please reach out. Today, guys, we are talking about, let me first ask you, do you ever have these days when you wake up and you kind of want to do a lot of things and move your projects forward and you have all these ideas that you want to work on, but somehow you just don't have enough of something to get after those things that usually more often than not require work and effort? Even a simple thing like exercise, you want to be fit and you love the idea of exercise, but when it comes to actually doing it, you kind of like, I don't really feel like it. I don't have energy. There are other things to do. Maybe some other time. Do you ever feel like that? Like you want to do all these things, but there is something that you're missing. Maybe a little bit of motivation. Today is not Motivation Monday, guys, but we are talking about motivation and specifically dopamine because on Tuesday I do my regular fast now because also a friend of mine does them on Tuesday, so it's like kind of great dynamic. We support each other. Anyhow, so I do a whole day of no food, no calories, nothing, just water, black coffee, black tea. I do add a little bit of lemon into my water to make it tasty. But anyhow, so I do my fast on Tuesday, so I finish eating on Monday night and I start eating again. I'm only gonna start eating again later this afternoon. And after this day of fasting, I always feel like so much more motivated. And not just feel like it, I actually do so many more things. Like I wake up and I'm like, I have so much energy. I haven't eaten shit for the past, 40 hours. And I want to do things and I'm getting after them starting right from the morning. And I was always like curious, why is that, that fasting does this to me mentally? It's not that also I have physical energy, but mentally also I'm so much more driven. Probably you might think, well, yeah, Angela, probably your brain is telling you go and get some food. Maybe there is some truth to that too. But what I learned yesterday from Huberman Lab podcast, it's one of my favorite podcasts ever because it's super deep into science but also translated into daily actions. Andrew Huberman, he is a neuroscientist and some other kind of professor in Stanford University. So anyhow, he was talking about how on yesterday's podcast, he was talking all about dopamine, this molecule that makes us do things. Dopamine is a molecule of more, of making us want things, crave things, go after things that require effort. So dopamine is all about that. But the levels of dopamine, they fluctuate. And actually, the more we get stimulated by things that gives us pleasure, that gives us, that satisfy our cravings in some way, like social media or eating delicious food that is highly palatable, or sex, or achieving any sort of goal. The more stimulation we get, the harder it is for us to make ourselves to feel pleasure while pursuing things, while getting after things. So the more, for example, you eat highly palatable, those super delicious manufactured snacks and foods, the more you eat of them, the less actually pleasure you get from them. And the harder it is for you to enjoy more simple pleasures. But then also your motivation levels, like your drive to get after things, the more stimulation you get, this drive, it gets lower and lower. It's kind of like you move your baseline of the amount of pleasure you need to start going after things. You move it up and up and up and up. So the more stimulation you get, the more you'll need the amount of pleasure or perceived expected pleasure for you to get motivated and to actually get off your couch, get off your ass and go and do something about it. So the more stimulation you get, the harder this part gonna be. And what helps you to restore your baseline of motivation and baseline of actually dopamine that you get less and less of, I guess more precise is you just get it gets stimulated more and more, and you use up this neurotransmitter that's an actual molecule in our brain. It's kind of a little bit complicated. Andrew explains this much better on his neuroscience podcast, but the gist of it, the more stimulation we get, the harder it is for us to make ourselves go after things. And it's because we bring up this baseline of dopamine needed for us to go after things that require effort. And so if you want to bring this baseline back down so it's easier for you to go after things, like maybe do exercise or start eating healthier, maybe start cooking more meals at home, maybe start working on this side hustle project that you never seem to have motivation or time or energy to do. So if you want to bring this baseline of dopamine needed down and start going after things easier, like it's going to be easier for you to get off your butt and go and do things that require effort. In order to do that, what helps a lot is any practice that makes you practice deprivation or tell yourself no more often or restrict yourself in some way. So yeah, that's the right word. Any kind of practice that makes you intentionally restrict things will help you to restore that baseline of dopamine, or to be more precise, to bring it down so it's easier for you to make yourself go and do things. And fasting is one of those practices. When you restrict yourself a lot, food is one of the major drives, the drive to get nutrition and sustenance to maintain life. And it's a very powerful one. And so when you practice fasting on a regular basis, either through intermittent fasting every day, or maybe every week you do 1 day fast, or maybe 3 days once a quarter, I usually prefer more regular fasts because then you get the benefit more often, at least mental. So this practice of fasting, when it comes to neuroscience, it actually helps us to bring that base level of dopamine needed to push us to do things. It brings it down. And so after fasting, number one, it's much, 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 much easier for you to get up and go and do things that require effort. And number two, you actually get much more pleasure from those things. So another benefit, mental benefit of fasting is that if for some reason life starts losing its colors and everything feels kind of blah, well, yeah, I did this, I did that, social media, I didn't know I went on vacation, I went out for dinner, or, did this or that, but it doesn't really feel like anything. The reason might be that you overstimulated yourself, and the level of dopamine and all these neurotransmitters that are required for you to get pleasure from things, they got higher, so high that now the experience gotta be like wow for you to get any sorts of pleasure from it. But let's be honest, our everyday life is not gonna be wow every day. And it kind of works like for drug addicts who need more and more and more and more to get the same amount of pleasure. The same happens with us regular people. Dopamine is the same, whether it's in drug addict or in you and me. And so If you guys want to start getting more pleasure from simple things in life, if you want it to be easy for you to push yourself to get up and go after things, and use some of your effort muscle to get after things that require that effort. If you want those two things, get more pleasure from simple daily life and make it easy for yourself to get up and go after things that require effort, you need to bring that baseline of dopamine lower. And in order for you to do that, you need to practice some sort of restriction. And fasting is just, besides being a great physical practice that helps with so many things on metabolic level, besides all of that, fasting helps you on that mental side. And that's probably every time, after fasting, I'm like, I want to go and change the world right now. And I actually, again, do and accomplish many more things after my one day of fasting. I must warn you, if you are used to eating all the time and snacking all the time, it's gonna be painful. So maybe start slow, but once your body learns how to deal with that stressful situation, and you learn how to manage your mental state, your emotional state, your physical state during fast, the benefits from it, just feeling amazing from living your life every day when there is nothing super exciting happening. Just this one feeling, it's worth it for me. And then again, you're gonna get a boost of that motivation, because motivation is actually the amount of dopamine you have, and also where your baseline is, like how much dopamine you actually need to make you go and do things. So again, fasting helps with both of this. Get pleasure from everyday life and making it easier for yourself to get up and go after things that require effort. So fasting helps with that. And guys, it happens to be I'm an intermittent fasting coach. So if it feels like it's too much, you tried it and failed, and it felt awful, and you don't know how to do it, then reach out, Angela@createyourself.today. I'm gonna help you to use science to figure out how to make fasting work for you for all this and other health and fitness benefits. And what else, guys? Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Share this episode with some other person who needs a little bit more motivation in their life and a little bit more joy from simple things. So share this episode. Reach out. Don't forget that there is a form, a link to a form where you can ask any question you have for me. So use it when you need it. And guys, as usual, thank you for tuning in, and till next time, eat better daily.